Hey, what's up everybody? So this video is going to be all about weapon mounted lights, and more specifically what mount, what tail cap, pressure pad, etc. do I need. 2020, there's a lot of new shooters and there's a lot of people that have never mounted a light to a rifle before. So when you look at this market space, there's so much in the way of mounts and tail caps, etc. It could be kind of overwhelming and quite frankly, a little bit confusing, especially for people that have never done it before. So I'm gonna try to simplify a lot of this stuff. So first thing is first, all of the lights here are called mod lights, right? There's two main ones that I would say. That's gonna be a mod light or a Surefire. Both the mod light and the Surefire are very, very well supported in the way of mounts, tail caps, and pressure pads, right? Make sure when you're buying a light, one of the things is it needs to be well supported, right? You don't want to have to search high and low for a mount because your light has a proprietary mount, right? So all of the Surefire and mod lights will fit these Surefire Scout mounts, right? What kind of mount do you need, right? That really depends on your rail and what accessories are on your rail, right? Do you have lasers? Do you have a front sight post? If so, some of the mounts may run into those things, right? Take for instance, this setup right here, okay? This setup is called M-lock, right? This attachment method right here is called M-lock, okay? So these M-lock mounts correspond with these little slots right here. When you tighten the screw, the nut on the back turns, tightens the mount down, and you're good to go. So if you have accessories like this laser here that you would use to shoot at night with night vision, you would want to make sure that that mount that your light is mounted on is going to clear your laser, right? You don't want a mount that is going to make the light run into the laser, right? Because it's not going to work, okay? If you had something like this, kind of simple setup, right? This whole thing is all quad rail. Quad rail is Picatinny rail, okay? So if you were choosing a mount for this particular setup, you'd want to make sure that you get a Picatinny mount, Picatinny Scout mount, right? All these mod lights, again, are going to fit a Surefire Scout mount pattern. So that's Picatinny, right? If you had key mod, okay? This one here is key mod, right? These little slots right here, okay? This mount corresponds with these slots, kind of drops in, pushes forward, tighten the screws, the mount's on there, okay? But if you had this type setup, you would want a key mod Scout mount, right? Another Picatinny mount is going to be the QD mount, right? There's a lot of QD mounts on the market. This one is a American Defense mount, okay? It has this little lever and then a locking button right here that you have to push to unlock it, okay? Neat thing about this, if you have several rifles and you only want to buy one light setup, typically the majority of rails out there today are going to have Picatinny rail at least 12 o'clock, so you can mount this on several different rifles, pull that lever off, throw it on another one, right? Kind of neat in that department. There's basically three different main tail caps that I'll go over here. The first one is going to be a Surefire UE tail cap, right? All this thing does is gives you a plug or a jack or whatever to plug in your pressure pad, okay? All of these tail caps on the mod lights and the Surefires will unscrew, okay? So modular, again, imagine that, right? You could put whatever you need on there. Kind of cool, right? So that is the Surefire UE tail cap, okay? There's another one called the Surefire DS00, okay? Not only does this offer you a jack to plug in your pressure pad, but it also offers you a little bit of redundancy here with a clicky cap to activate the light, okay? So say for instance, if this thing was to fall off, break, catch on fire, I don't know, whatever, doesn't work anymore, I have a secondary way to activate the light, okay? Also kind of handy in odd positions, shooting underneath things. I can use this kind of like that, okay? Something to think about. The last type of tail cap we have is on this old school M1 carbine that I've kind of got bubbled out, you could say. This is just a clicky cap, right, for this old school Surefire light. So again, you would be shooting, you'd reach up, click it on, click it off, okay? Works for a lot of people, super simple setup. All right, let's go over some pressure pads here. The first one that I've got here is a Surefire SRO7, okay? Neat thing about the Surefire SRO7 is you have a momentary switch back here. This whole little rectangle here is momentary only, so wherever you hit it on that momentary button, it's gonna turn on. This little button up here is constant on, okay? So if that's important to you, then this switch would be the one that you would choose. One of the biggest downfalls, in my opinion, about this switch is it just kind of sits on the rail with these little rubber feet, so to speak, right? They're flexible. That's a downfall because if this thing gets bumped, I've had it come off, okay? So you're trying to shoot at night and then bump it and then that falls off and then you're trying to find this thing in the dark. So if you do run this thing, the SRO7 switch, I would recommend throwing some tape or zip ties around it to hold it on. Button that we have here, pressure pad, is gonna be the mod button light. Neat thing about the mod button light, super tiny, constant only, and it's bolted onto the gun with these little cross screws here, right? Corresponds with these nuts, okay? This thing is bolted onto the gun, it's not going anywhere. Really cool in that department. If you have a laser, okay, you can get a mod button light to run a laser as well, right? If you're buying these, make sure you are buying the correct mod button light for what you're using it for, okay? Since they do have some for laser and the flashlight. If you want one for the flashlight, it's gonna be the mod button light Surefire plug. If you want one for a laser, it's going to be the mod button light crane plug, all right? All right, so next we got the Unity hot button. If you like to activate your light by pushing forward, then this would be the one for you, okay? This thing, you just push forward to turn the light on. This is a constant on, meaning you click it and the light turns on. You can kind of sort of use it as momentary, but what I've found is when I push it a little bit to use momentary only, the rifle recoils and then turns it on constant, and then I have to click it anyway. So for all intents and purposes, this is a constant on pressure pad. And again, they just click right into the Surefire tail cap. All of these click into the Surefire tail cap. One here, if you have a laser and you want to use the laser and the light at the same time, then this Unity tap sync is gonna be the thing for you, right? So button number one is gonna fire both the light and the laser, okay? So I push button number one, both the light and the laser come on. Kind of cool. If that kind of thing is important to you, then that would be the way to go. Button number two just fires the laser, okay? So that's the Unity tap sync pressure pad. So let's talk about brightness real quick. To me, I want a light to be as bright as humanly possible, right? Why is that? Well, if I'm using a white light on a rifle, chances are the sun is gone, right? So this white light is essentially a replacement for the sun, okay? The brighter the light is, the more something is going to be lit up and easier for me to see to make decisions about, okay? So whether it's home defense or whether I'm shooting coyotes, I wanna make sure that that's a coyote and not the neighbor's German Shepherd. Bright lights afford me the ability to see better. So make sure whatever light you're buying is high in the lumen category and in the candela category. Lumens, the way I like to think about it, kind of simplify it for y'all, is lumens has to do with the spill of the light, okay? The spill as far as how far it throws to the sides, okay? Candela has to do with the amount of throw it has, okay? How far does the light go? 100 yards, 200 yards, Mod lights use rechargeable batteries. To me, that's kind of neat because I can have a bunch of batteries all charged up and ready to go. Number one, if you care about this sort of thing, it's a lot friendlier towards the earth, right? We're not throwing away lithium batteries. And number two, it's a cost saver, right? So I'm not having to buy a bunch of CR123s, right? I buy these 18650s, or for these shorter bodies on Mod Lite, I would buy 18350 battery, and they plop in here. Once they run dead, throw them back on the charger, and then they're good to go after that, right? So I'm not having to buy a bunch of different batteries, okay? If you buy a Surefire light like this M300, this is going to take a CR123 battery, okay? Again, the downfalls of this, you're throwing away lithium battery if you happen to care about this sort of thing. And they're kind of expensive, right? So to me, the rechargeables kind of pay for themselves. The rechargeables are a little bit more expensive up front, but you're not buying a bunch of CR123s to feed the light. Y'all, that's what I got on weapon mounted lights, kind of the ins and outs of the mounts, tail caps. And again, make sure you're buying a light that is number one, from a reputable company, and number two, widely supported, so you can find things like mounts, tail caps, pressure pads that are going to not only fit the rifle, but fit around you and your shooting style, right? That's what I got on lights. Hopefully that clears some things up and helps you guys out, and you can make a little bit more educated decision on your purchase.